Sitting on the scenic hill in Laconia is what remains of a now-closed New Hampshire Department of Corrections prison. The Lakes Region facility did not just house inmates, but also the ghosts of former residents who remain there today.
It wasn't a huge experience, but it's something I didn't forget. There was a little girl. I don't know. She was standing there, and I don't know. 1 second she was there, 1 second she was gone. But I don't know if she was crying or just standing there watching. Anyways, that was my one experience at LRF that I won't forget, nor did I write an incident report on.
Well, you want to know about the experience I had at LRF? It was in the Murphy building on the top floor. In the summertime, it would get real hot there, and like 85, 90 degrees on that third floor. I remember doing rounds and checking each room, and walking down the hall on several occasions, I would run into a very cold spot, so cold that I could see my breath. So that's my experience there.
The experience that I'm going to share with you was in the basement of the Quimby building, which is now, used to, where the chow halls were upstairs. So there was 2 chow halls, and down below was the basement. Obviously it was used, there was a loading dock, and my understanding is back when it was a state-run state school, that was where the morgue was, and maybe some other things going on. I was down there one night checking, making rounds, have to go in, make sure everything's good, and I entered into the lower basement area, which it just had a weird feeling. I don't know what it was. It just, something kind of pushed at me, meaning it didn't want me there. And I felt it right off the bat. And as we're talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It was kind of weird. I felt like I was being watched. And every time I turned around, I felt like something was looking at me. I didn't know what it was, didn't see anything at that point. And proceeded just to make my rounds down there. There's a lot of dark alleyways and dark hallways and stuff like that. There's no windows down there that I recall. And out of the corner of my eye, on my right-hand side, I saw something go by me, and I looked down the hallway, and I heard 2 footsteps and a door slam, bang. And I went down to see what it was. Nothing was there. The door slammed. It was a steel door, and there was nothing there. There's no windows. There was no exits. There was no exit doorway at all. No access to the outside, so there was no wind or anything that could make that happen. So that was my experience at the Lakes Region facility, and every building kind of gave off its own little vibe, but that one gave off a big vibe for me that night.
So in 1995, I was working the shock incarceration program, which was a boot camp for young offenders. I was doing some paperwork, a little after 10, 2,200 hours, give or take. And all of a sudden, one of the big, heavy wooden doors just slammed. For no rhyme or reason. I thought maybe one of the convicts, one of the individuals in the program had gotten up without permission. I went and checked all the squad bays, and everybody was sleeping. Again, there was no rhyme or reason for that door slamming shut. There was no draft. There was no wind coming through. Appeared to have shut by itself.
The buildings that the Lakes Region facility are housed in have a controversial history. The New Hampshire School for the Feeble-Minded opened in 1903 with 82 residents. The residents varied in age from 3 to 21. In 1905, the school accepted women over 21. By 1910, the school had added a farm, a dining hall, a hospital, and a women's dormitory. By 1916, the facility faced overcrowding with almost 300 residents. At this point in time, New Hampshire forbid marriages for those who were in the state deemed as insane, feeble-minded, epileptic, idiotic, or with mental deficiencies. In 1917, New Hampshire authorized the sterilization of feeble-minded at the school under the advisement of 3 doctors and school trustees, as the belief was that feeble-mindedness was genetic and would be passed down to offspring. In 1924, the school changed its name to the Laconia State School. Overcrowding was becoming a problem. In 1942, the school housed 614. 80 residents would share 1 toilet and 1 shower. In 1952, the Laconia State School was compared to a Nazi concentration camp by the Portsmouth Herald. Conditions then improved. A geriatric unit was added, as well as a coeducational activities program. In 1960, the authority of the school was given to the Department of Health and Welfare. Education was continued, and the practice of medication therapy was introduced. In 1974, the population had grown to 1,162 residents with a wait list of 400. There was never enough staff, and residents sat with no stimulation or proper care, leaving them to suffer at the hands of predators, to be abused by staff, as well as the residents. The state school was forced to close its doors in 1991 due to a lawsuit. Shortly thereafter, the Department of Corrections took over the campus. The state school has its own cemetery, which is located over 8 miles away in the neighboring town of Meredith. Nestled on this beautiful stretch of Meredith Road is the cemetery, the Laconia State School. Many residents are afraid to come into the cemetery, especially at night. Many strange things have been reported here. Strange noises, dancing lights, moans, whispers. Here on Chemung Road lie 169 bodies, former residents of the Laconia State School. In 1976, a group of concerned parents decided to purchase and lay down the headstones for these bodies who were put here with no markers. The question remains, 169 bodies, where are the rest of them? Which brings us back to the campus of the Lakes Region facility. My husband, a former corrections lieutenant, helped me look for clues on the site.
This road has really no rhyme or reason. It just goes out into a clear-cut, open area, and it's hidden from everybody and everything.
The road leads to this. There's nothing back here, just a clearing. Do you know what that shed was for?
No.
Could some of the residents who once lived here be placed back here? As we're approaching this spot, I'm getting ailments. Heart ailments, respiratory ailments, dental ailments. I don't think we're alone in this spot. We've stumbled across some stones that look like grave markers here in the woods behind the Lakes Region facility. They seem to be stacked together. The fact of the matter is, on this 260-acre property, bodies could be anywhere. The problem with that is that the city of Laconia and the state of New Hampshire are looking to develop this land and disrupt the graves of many, many souls who were thought of as subhuman and never received a proper burial. When the graves are disturbed, will the spirits move on, or will they stay at the Laconia State School grounds and haunt them forever.